call. We might just hit home in a Honda. But are you ready? I am ready. Don't keep me waiting. I'm okay. I'm just minutes away. You can call me any day. You can call me replay. But are you ready? I am ready. Don't keep me waiting. I'm okay. I'm just minutes away. You can call me any day.
It's fine. It's trending zone.
Yeah, but into the utility, podcast there we allow and so you can say anything.
Highly
You can
doubt
even
that.
take this as the president. Yes,
Highly
fine. Yeah, you wouldn't even know. No, so I think we're good to go now.
All right.
Welcome to the special edition of the ByoPodcast in Ngxoxo 99. Today we have a special guest again. Sihlala silama guest yabo because basilethela more views
My views. Basilethela abantu babo. Begcina sebengabantu bethu.
basilethela ama fans yabo. So we see it fit to go to sibe ama guest. So our special guest today is Vuyo Brown.
Yay!
Sawubona.
Njani?
Hayi siyaphila njani?
Siyaphila.
Enjani impilo?
Yaphila.
Impilo iyaphila. So namuhla sijoyina ngumfundisi guys.
Oh, okay, that's what we're starting with.
So today we are not swearing as the
Sichumile namuhla.
siyakhitshwa amadimoni namhla njengangale ngale I think singaqala khona
Fire.
sibuye ngapha lasemakamereni ngaba
Back to send.
Funny enough, my cameraman, they never fall.
Awa.
No, no, it's just about.
But then now my question is ukwalokana babe siyo kuphela kumba abafundisi ine elibafuqayo time.
I led you into that one. You know what? Let's do this again. Go back to the question that you're gonna ask. But I can see how I set myself up there.
No, but like
All right.
Nabamfuqa.
Because I remember like ngezi story umunye sisa sithi wahambe church kwenye church yabo notheka avuye la disclaimer wahambe church la waqhaza ukukhulekela abantu yabo abantu ba mafika kuye usisa kawo yabo mafika kuye usisa kawo wazowafika okugcina wathi ngiphinde ngubone futhi la ani mvini uwone na so yeah kukhulekela lapha abantu besiyo lapha. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Siyabonga ukuthi uvumile short notice I think kawentelana
Beautiful,
phonsi
by the way.
Do I?
Yeah, cute.
kawentelana ukuthi hey siyacela ukuthi ubuye ngapha ufuna ukunathani yabo
Yeah.
yeah sazama ukudinga imazo at least yabona ukuthi feel comfortable.
Orange crush.
Orange crush yabo.
Okay.
Yeah, if it's less than $1, it's not that.
If it's less than $1, it's not worth me, guys. Like that should just be every girl should just operate like that. If it's less than $1, ne, that.
Nanga my girlfriend did this jari wathengela ama mirinda la sebeyagcina bephuma.
Lama PFC 50 cents.
So I know ukuthi you don't like this question. You don't want people asking ukuthi when are you related to Andy Brown? Nazabuza ukuthi are you related to Chris Brown?
Oh yes. Yeah. Chris Brown is my umtaka
Gogo ka aunt.
and then kwase city aunt wase chata lo. And then after that and then move her down up to me.
Siyabonga. So the next time evakatshelo aunt ezim Chris Brown I think is best ube la ngapha yabo. Not the autographs un interview abuye la lapha mphelekezela abuye la lapha ku podcast yabo.
You know what, I will.
Sike sithi halala interview. So nokufeza Vuyo lethu. Vuyo lethu ne? Vuyo lethu Ngwenya.
Yeah.
How does the name Vuyo Brown come about?
Vuyo Brown was so late, I think 2018. No, not 2018. It's not 2018. 2010.
2010. World
Upper
Cup.
6. Oh, World Cup, yeah.
Yeah.
2010 Upper 6. I changed my name on Facebook to Vuyo Brown. And I've been singing for a very long time, but by that time I was now signed to a sort of like an agency, you know, we were all kids.
Record label.
But yeah, well, I mean, it was a talent agency, but
Here in
yeah,
Bulawayo.
but I went to convent, so they were from Petra. It was different people. I just can't name them because it was just when you're kids, you're dreaming, you wanna. So then I started to be more serious about I was like, you know what, I really want to do this. So I just changed my name on Facebook to, funny enough, I just remember this story. I changed my name on Facebook to Vuyo Brown. And by the time later on, down the years when I decided to actually be a musician, it really now rang with so many people. It was catchy. I wanted a stage name, even though I'm a Christian artist. So that was just...
So agula like inspiration yamakona just
for Brown, no.
logged in Facebook, you changed your
Maybe brown skin girl.
The brown was definitely about... Usually I liked brown when I was buying stuff. It's
brown,
a humble
favorite
color. Not really, but it was a humble color. It was it's nice as it go in, So the way I said that word was funny. It's nice as go in. So that's what happened.
Yeah, now that's just Kuluming Brown. I always have a question, Yoji. Tina, Abandon, Isla, Sangila. Series of Toa, we are black people. But are we really black?
No. No.
Exactly.
Are we really black or
With
see
different
brown?
shades of
With
brown and different
yeah.
shades of caramel.
So much
coffee.
black. So black, I think, really racism.
Very racism. That's why they actually say people of color it's better than
It actually is
black
more
people.
respectful.
Yeah,
That's true.
Yeah, because black guys, some of us are yellow bonds.
Some of us are caramel.
If you start saying we're black now, hey, I saw this. Okay, so going back, go interview. Tell us about childhood yakho growing up. Did you grow up in Harare, Bulawayo, or Gwanda? Because ngithengibala lapha bengisithi ngabala ngichayisa nilo Harare, ngibale ngichayisa nilo Bulawayo, ngichayisa nilo Gwanda. I think
Was there Gwanda there?
yeah, I know Gwanda. I think ngezwa somewhere. Ngezwa somewhere. So le maswingo futhi.
Mashuga is there. Yeah. Funny enough, because in '94, that one I know for sure because before my little sister was born, Saslale Gwanda, actually. But
So sound
yeah,
right.
which is weird. So I don't know who you've been talking to, but yes, I grew up in a lot of places because my parents used to move around a lot. Even here, Gobla, I grew up in a lot of places. That's why I'm not really a fan of being placed into one, location because I feel like it's a lie for me to claim that.
Yeah.
But yeah, my dad lived somewhere else, then my mom lived somewhere else, and then sometimes we'd live, I'm not sure what exactly which question. What was the question? How was your childhood?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Growing up, yeah. Gwanda. So see
Always
Jamaican.
moving. Don't remember.
Do you eat amacimbi?
I do like amacimbi like once a year.
Macimbi amnandi izibungu phela leza.
I'm
Nalokudla
not.
umahaqaza.
No amacimbi amnandi, guys. No, I know.
Mahaqaza though.
No, mahaqaza.
That's deep. Like
Amacimbi tastes like chicken.
okay, I don't know
swear.
about chicken, but
Amacimbi, they taste like chicken, guys.
Amacimbi lo mahaqaza ngokukhazini.
No.
my way.
Amacimbi le chicken, same WhatsApp group.
Okay, that was a new one. You know what? Next time we want land, I would have that in mind. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe it's a mentality. They like just
Yeah,
if you
I think maybe
it's
it's all in the mind. So,
chicken.
is it Blackstone
right.
Primary? Is it Gwanda or is it
It's in
Harare?
Harare. That's so weird. Like you really did your research. I did not expect that question. Blackstone is just behind it Nyatwa.
Okay.
It's just around. It's in town. It's just around there. Funny enough, Tarone Guitar. You know her? Okay, some of you watching will know her. She's a musician in Zim.
Okay.
And she actually also went a Blackstone.
Okay. I think Mbara for the first time I thought it's Black Sam. Yo, Black Sam.
What does that mean?
Which one again? Black Sam.
That's
But I
not
think
Shambin.
Ah, it's in Samba. It's
A
on
lot of
Samba.
Africans' words they sound like in
Yeah,
Shambin.
yo, Black
Yeah.
Sam.
True.
Yeah.
Blackston.
You were saying?
Blackston. It's by Parinyata. I went there for a few years because, well, my dad, we lived just near there. We lived in a street called Mazoe Street. If you go up avenues, you pass Mazoe Street, and then you go up, you pass Parinyata, and then you turn like this. That's it, Lula. Actually, see a school of it, that's a kata through Parinyata.
Okay.
And then
They'll
we
have
would
my
go to
nyao,
school.
kumbe.
Because it was really close. It's like ungahamba lapha and then it's like behind the end. But then it becomes complicated because it's like we're kids and then there's so many roads. Harare is so busy.
Was it a
was
private
busy
school?
already then.
Was it a private school?
It's still there. So I can't say it was because it's still there. It's
yeah.
it was the in-between ones.
Oh,
Yeah,
not too ghetto,
mixed.
but not too.
Dash.
Yeah, because it's in
Yeah.
town, so it was so mixed with so many races and so many. So a lot of people who lived there went to school there.
Zona
before-
ngikhuluma ngedash phambi kwamfundisi. Sorry mfundisi.
I don't even know what that is. So you are
Yeah, so was safe.
passed right through.
So was safe. So Blackston, then Sismo was here Cockland.
Coughlin,
Meaning Gucci, you're moving to Lawa now.
Moved back.
Yeah.
Moved back with my mom now.
Okay.
Because when we were staying there with my dad, and then he had to. Then we went to Masvingo. Actually, again, went to Masvingo in between, but we couldn't learn there because he was there for a short time. Otherwise, Asiafunda, there's a school there called something Victoria, Lake Victoria or Victoria something, and we're gonna go there and wahamba writing in Dao. But then now he had to. My dad, he's a doctorate, so now he had to go study for that. So he left Ehamba. Then we now went back to Shalalomam. And that was when we came back here to Ikoglin. My mom loved girls' schools.
Why
so-
sebenza kwephi field to ubaba?
My dad is a lecturer, so he's Dr. Ngwenya at because he's still alive.
Okay.
English.
Makes sense yabona indlela okukhuluma ngayo isikhiwa sakho bo.
Nope,
The twang.
not even related. But I can. It makes sense how you would think that, but it's not. It's not related. So yeah, when he went, then we went back to Ushalalomam. Then we went to Coughlin. I went to Coughlin for 2 years.
Quickly, then Dominican convent.
Yeah. My mom, like I said, loved girls' schools.
Why?
Is there a reason?
She was a teacher for the longest time until she passed. So she was a teacher at St. James for the longest time. She also went to girls' schools. She also went to St. James, actually.
Yeah, I'm thinking of a situation where maybe abangafuna abafana badlalele eduzane nomntanakhe.
No. Very interesting. But my mom was not. My mom was not like that. My dad, my parents were young. They were young, because a lot of people, because obviously now he's grown, but he was very different from our most of our parents.
Yeah, because bese ngifuna ukubuza velthi what type of a family setup is it? Like, are they strict African parents, typical black strict African parents?
No.
Ilabana ba open.
We were very open. I remember Udede, of course, because he moved. He went to the States for like years. So, but also he was already a guy like that. So, I remember when I was 16, he goes, he sends a message to my mom and says, Guti, through her to me, Guti, you can now date. But the rule is that mama has to know the boy. Like, he cannot just go outside. So, she has to meet them
Lucky
at 16. Yeah, I remember it's 16 or 15, 16.
Sinabanye kade at 26, you cannot tell your mother that you have a girlfriend. Endlini kaba.
I
Xa
mean,
usungumfazi hamba uhlala le ndoda yakho.
Mina
not
ngithi
in
ngihleli,
my
mina ngithi
house.
ngihleli labantwana la kade ngihleli lamadoda.
it also makes sense. My mom was not like that, but she had no choice. Udede already, character yakhe very was authoritative.
Plus
Like,
la uma ugeza yabona vele abafana bazabuya yabo. So
I'm
inevitable.
16.
But when did you enjoy going to all those girls' schools?
I did. It's what I knew, so I had no problem with it. I prefer it. I'm also I like order. I like ukhuliswa with there's something girls or boys schools do. You know, there's a culture to it. There's how can I explain it? I think you get it. Like
we
there's a
do,
culture
but
to those type of schools. I'm that person.
Ekuthi
so it was
mina
not even
ngafunde
a
futhi
day
yabo so
when you
angikwazi.
just thought, I don't know, like, I don't know. Maybe because I've never really been in that situation, so it's not really something that I would prefer
Okay.
personally. But so was there not even a single day when you felt like, just for
I
the
want boys
experience, not really want boys, but just
to
be in the
learn
same
with.
environment at school like that?
Impela uthi ifundisa isilaphana uzokala ibhonga yes man.
Kuzwakala ibhonga or thina semva nxa lihlabela ingoma zenu, you know,
No.
ngani bale bass nyana.
We did that. I had two friends who actually had e-bass that a very few guys have, but that's a story for another time. But we didn't because we also had what's it called? What were they called? Socials. You know,
Okay.
and I was always in clubs. I was always in. I
Clubs
was
is
in
clubbing or school clubs.
whichever you want, ne? But I was school clubs, you know, I was
Okay,
the
yeah,
president
yeah.
of that one, of this. So we were always doing socials. And plus you're chai sangama too, you know, so you gotta see them outside anyway.
Now that you said you had friends about two abavele bass, you know. I read somewhere where you're saying you used to be friends with people that were misunderstood. In what sense?
Oh.
Ngebhonga or
Okay.
sorry.
I don't even, you know what the good thing is about wise, which I'm talking about them, so I won't get into trouble. But
Plus ababukeli podcast link ngitshela ukuthi le 50 views.
you guys, is that humility or
We are new here.
We're still new, we're still trying.
50 views, you'll see. So you can,
Feel
okay.
free.
yeah.
We had back at school there was a cappella group.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Rockapella, obviously you have all the parts, ne?
Yeah.
And then we had I almost said her name, but there was a girl who did Itena and we had to be Itena. But these two guys had they arranged. So the other one used to do this thing for the class. It's funny that you mentioned science because she had this thing of like sometimes just to mess with the teacher and she would just do that, the bonga thing. She could actually speak in it. You know, it was really cool. But misunderstood people. Misunderstood people. You know, in terms of like, I always had friends who were different from each other.
Okay.
You know, so I remember, I could be friends with a nerd. I could be friends with the coolest person. I could be friends with whoever. I haven't met anyone I cannot get along with in my life.
Basically.
Almost, because also, you know, I'm very private as well. So I wasn't like the most social person or like so I wasn't like, because I know if I say that there's a person you picture, but I wasn't that person. People would come to me.
Okay.
So I wasn't like, you know, the person was like, I'm Zolwa. But when I get to a place, I'm just quiet and sit down, then people come to me.
So, so now, like, I'm going to say 20.
Bro! 2 bags, bro. Like there's a sports bag, and then there's your for your books, my friend. And then sometimes your lunch.
Yo,
I can
why
relate.
you already laling at school because you are camping every day.
Bro, that is actually a good question because some of us actually wanted the boarding school to come back because it would have been so cool. But because it's too bad. And to be honest, you know, the only time I thought that was crazy is when I finished school. Because when you're in there, it makes sense because the sports bag has your sports stuff, and then the bag has your all everything and clammed into one. You know, after some time it just becomes. So even if you don't have a sports bag or or something, and you feel off really because you're like, no guys, I can't put like my books with my shortami and in one.
T-shirt and whatnot.
It feels, you know.
Makes sense why abaningi abafunda khona ngale bekwanisa ukuthwala into ezinye.
Do you know, like, oh my gosh, you just reminded me.
Okay, so lapha ekhaya, due to lack of resources, we normally record first 20 minutes, then we cut, then we continue.
Okay.
But sizatshintsha ngelinye ilanga. So right now we're just taking an ad break coming back, then moving on to the music side of your career.
Okay.
All right, sharp. Thank you, guys. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, like, share. Benzeni futhi okunye.
Ngitshela uVuyo ukuthi liyamthanda.
Nimtshela ukuthi umuhle futhi.
Ngitshela ukuthi
Moving on to the music side of career. Congratulations on winning Female Artist
Female
of the Year.
Artist of the Year.
BA,
Right.
consecutive, yeah?
Yeah.
2020, 2021.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Award winner.
Inkezo baby girl.
Ezandleni. Lesikhohle like bekumele sikufake ku-introduction ukuthi vele you are an award winning
Artist.
songstress.
Ooh, what is that? Guys, do you know the way I hate that term? It's just such a weird term.
Ngabona
You see how you even said it?
Songstress.
Stock stress.
songstress.
It's weird.
Like yeah, whoa, songstress. Okay. So when does the love for music come? Vuyo Brown.
You know, that is actually a very interesting question. I don't know where it comes from because I just had it. It's one of those things. The thing about that's important about you, I'm so sorry because I have to say this, but the thing about how we raise our kids is to expose them to as many things as possible. That's our job. And so that you find something that's for you. And at some point I was exposed to music and it was just my thing.
And it's actually a good thing that you were raised in a family setup and that because
Yeah.
some kids out there busy University of Zimbabwe doing a law degree that they even don't want yabona akuthanda maybe ufuna yabo me ngihambe esikolo ngenza 4 years but now I'm a content creator.
Yeah. Which is what you actually wanted to do.
Yeah.
So
That's a
kahle
good
kahle
point.
songana abadala ba waste imali if just school fees.
That is a good point.
But it's actually a good thing ukuthi you grow up in a family setup where you are exposed to izinto eziningi and you get to choose ukuthi okay mina I'll stick to music because this is what I love. Because I was about to ask you ukuthi what are your parents saying nxa uthanda music?
Right.
Bahambisa isikolo uthi hamba ufunda but wena uzothi uchoose that.
Yeah.
The thing for me is I had open-minded parents. So even though, because I come from an academic family actually, and I was that kid. I was the A student and all my stuff. So people I also expected I was going to be, something else because we all grew up in the same society. That doesn't. But I was pretty smart. I did not struggle. But if I failed, it was because I'm Lala. But I was pretty smart. And that's where we came from. So stuff was expected from.
You're smart now.
Ivo, you had to pick that up. I am smart.
She's
You're
smart,
smart, guys.
Smart.
You're smart. But yeah, so my parents though were very, like I said, they were the type of people they were open-minded. So they were always growing also in themselves. But at some point, I remember even my dad, it's funny that, why are you reminding me all these things? Do you know? There's a time when he actually sent a message, because he would send messages. So, and he's like, please enroll my kids. I remember, because we laughed about that recently. We told him, like, do you remember that? He wanted us to enroll for modeling. I was like, look for a school, Behambe, and put them there. It must have been, if I wasn't, between grade 7 and Form 2, he wanted us to, to start that. But that's also because he was now exposed to something else as well. So, they were always open-minded like that. So my mom definitely was always like, she was my biggest fan. My dad recently attended the show. I had a show in January, and that was the first time he was seeing me on stage. And yeah, that meant the world to me because, we've come a long way. Because my dad is an academic person. So that's a whole other story. But now he's supportive. Even though but you really want blue, he will try and understand why you want blue, and he will take time to, okay, at some point, fine, you can wear blue, but he still will prefer red.
So I'm going to prove
Wow.
why.
You're very lucky.
Indirectly, but he will still support you. So I was raised by love, man. So yeah.
You're very lucky.
Then when do you join? Is it? I think Benga Kulma before. Is it rock capella? And in vernacular.
Vernacular choir.
Yeah. When do you join that?
At school.
Yeah.
That was at school, probably Form 1. The moment I remember
Dominican
Sister
convent.
Rudo, yes, Dominican convent. Sister Rudo was in charge of vernacular choir. She was one of the coolest women ever. Because vernacular choir was because I went to a Catholic school, so there was the choir yes kiwa and then the choir vernacular.
Ekas.
So that's where we do the. I like that sound. I could do that already. So, but I liked
The
the drums and the biras
The
and
marimbas.
it was
Yeah.
so cool. So I joined that. I preferred that, and then later on got introduced to a cappella, which then became rockapella. We named it.
Okay, so iloki khona lamanje or
I heard it is. I heard it is. I recently met. There's a poet. I can't name her, but we were talking about that recently because she was talking about how she tried to get in and she couldn't. But yeah, apparently still there.
Okay.
that's nice. So when then do you start like performing outside school?
Right.
Uqala nini ukuperforma as an artist?
That was later because then there was church.
Okay.
So I sang at church from 14 years old. I started going to this particular church. Like that's what level I. Then I'm
Praise and
singing
worship.
this side. Yeah.
Okay.
And so, I mean, I hated being called, I have a problem with it being called praise and worship. I don't like
Praise worship.
worship team or the music team. I hate how people, it's such a common thing that everyone says praise and worship. So I was always out, I was correcting people.
Every time
every time- yeah.
yeah. Praise and worship.
Yeah, it's known as that, yabo, so it's now
Even laba
become
fundisa
a...
so praise and worship so
I
manini.
hate that. I
Bona
hate
mfana
it.
sebesukuma.
I hate that.
Sigqoka amasudu.
Yabona vele
Ama-
step sangikhona se praise and worship. Bonta lezi.
Iba
I
bakhojo.
hate that. I hate it.
Okhazini bengilosi lapha.
Oh my goodness, tell cousin Bimbelos. So those were the places that I was singing in. Outside we're gonna fast forward till
then
much,
they-
much later.
Okay. So how do you classify your type of music in terms of genre? Is it gospel, jazz,
Oh, yeah, that's a
Right.
good question.
amapiano?
I term it, so I prefer to call it that is contemporary Christian music or Christian contemporary music, because then that covers all these genres. There's sub-genres under gospel music. So sometimes it's difficult for me to call myself a jazz musician, or I'm definitely not I'm a piano artist, but I can do it.
Yeah.
So it's hard to just do that. So I just termed myself that. But because of them, I don't call myself. Later on, I decided I'm not going to brand myself as a gospel artist because there's a certain sound I expect ism
And a certain
when you
behavior.
do, yeah.
Gospel
The
music.
behavior is not a problem because I mean that's who I am, but the sound.
Yeah.
I seeing Yenza. So if someone announces me or I go somewhere, they're expecting this thing, and then they don't get it, then they're disappointed. Because my music is urban and
Okay,
yeah.
so why that specific type of music?
Because it made sense to me. It was who I am. My music is literally just me breathing it out. So what comes out is obviously going to be different. Because the thing about the church is when I first came in, I relate to what I related to, if that makes sense. So I always say that my music then is going to be relatable to someone like me.
Okay.
Because I'm not as churchy as you would expect me to be. I'm spiritual, definitely, but I'm not, everything is well, my sister, it is well. So
bless
I'm
you.
hardly that person.
Hallelujah.
Because
I'm as real.
Ngathi sizokuthiwa you're a pastor, I'm like,
Yeah.
we're going to have a serious time la. Ngathi kuzayilahla lapha.
So you only do like gospel music only?
No, I'm a singer, songwriter, and Christian contemporary artist. So the singer, songwriter is everything else.
Okay.
Obviously I have limits. I write for different people, all different genres. I sing vocals for different people, not backing vocalists, but studio only. Because there's so many people who need it. So that one covers so many. There's so many songs that you hear, you won't know it's me unless you know my voice, or you won't know I wrote it unless I'm credited in it.
Okay.
You're saying you write for people. What are the people? or maybe there's a contract you can't say their names.
It depends. It depends on what it is. But I am a songwriter, so I write for artists that I don't necessarily don't have to be in the song for, if that makes sense.
Okay, which artist have you?
Hey.
Let me try guessing.
Okay.
MJ sings.
No, MJ is already a writer.
Yeah, I know, but
producer
still.
for.
I haven't written with MJ.
Kyla Black.
No.
So have you like written a song?
She also writes her music.
Yeah.
Have you written a song that went on to be a hit maybe?
For someone else.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. I should just recap maybe. Because they're also different. You know, there's different, for example, right? Because I do backing vocalist for a studio. Someone will approach me and will look for a female vocalist. Then when I get there, I end up fixing the song.
Correct.
This one.
Yeah.
When was that song even released? Like, I didn't even know him back then. I knew Begezela. I think I met him. My first time meeting Begezela was last year, if not last of last year.
Oh.
When you
Okay.
were performing together on that.
Well, that was the
homecoming
second
concert.
time. There's a time when there was a function 2019. That was my first time. I'd never even. But yeah, when I'll write them down. These are the type of things that I would like to know so that we come and I would have prepared them for you, and then we list them down for you that I did this for this one, and then I did that for that one, and stuff.
Okay.
But that's not even in my bio, you know. Unless I do it to help. If I can help, I can help.
Do you do it for free or you
Obviously, you have to get
charge
paid.
for?
I hope you charge.
I mean, you know what I mean. You can't even do a feature with me without me owning some like major parts
Okay,
of
so
it.
maybe it's a saying for Nukala music. I want you to write something for me. How much would you charge?
So I'm not gonna.
Just
So I don't publicize how much I charge except to the person who asked me. So if you want, you could actually probably do undercover for that, and then you'll find out. But I can guarantee you that I'm gonna own that song.
Podcast today. You can always tell me.
It's okay.
No, I charge a whole bunch plus rights. I charge
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
because
That is
especially if I know what it's gonna do and I know who that person is. But for Christian artists, I don't.
Yeah, so I'm going to album like gospel.
For Christian artists, I don't charge. I just own it, but I don't charge.
Okay, so
Okay.
how did you define your experience working with Kelvin, the late Kelvin? Because I think I read somewhere that you worked with Kelvin.
Where did you even see that? Yo,
Know
guys.
the unknown.
I only worked with Kelvin once. I remembered when Kelvin passed. It was definitely sad for everybody. It was such a shock. But we had these pictures from with the other guys, like, and I'd never share them because I had this hairstyle, and I'm black. Yeah,
So as I say, color before black.
because I always have this. Like if you can see, it's always brown. I always dye my hair brown. But that time, I dyed it back to black. It was funny, and my hairstyle was just fine. So we took pictures from this other studio session we had. Calvin's studio was actually my first studio experience.
Wow.
And it was an artist from Harare who had come and was, like I said, I do vocals. And we co-wrote the song. We were doing vocals for the song. And then Kelvin comes. Kelvin, was a visionary. So he hears the voice. And I mean, I've been singing for a long time. I've been told, oh, Vuyo, you can sing. But Kelvin made me feel like I had gold in my hands, man. Like he just, whenever I'd
that
get on
was
the booth, I'm
Kelvin
like,
for you.
No,
and I'm like, what is this guy losing it about? And then he goes, sing like this. Okay, fine, let's do. And then he actually he got interested in working on the song. He did the intro for the song. And because it was like, he really fell in love with my voice. And we, after that, the talks that we had were, he started something, if you remember, there's a group of artists he now had under him. Unfortunately, that wasn't my journey. But if
Condor
it had
tribe.
been, I would have been part of them. Yeah. I didn't even know the details, but the thing about me is I know myself so well that where I am is very specific. So, but yeah, you know, he really gave me the oomph and the confidence. Like, yeah, okay, you know what? Maybe I've got something here. So yeah, he definitely fit
But
something.
don't you think ukuthi everyone in Bulawayo right now reacted the way Kelvin reacted mawa kuzuhlawela don't you think sikachana is maybe Bulawayo artist?
True. Oh man, like you are so right, because if other artists have, and which some of us have, you know, I've also met people in my life who have heard a song or heard something and be like, and it's those other people you're just supposed to be plugged to. And I've definitely had not so many, but really one
Quite a
main
few.
one that I'll I'll always honor. But my mom was definitely one of them as well. So I've had two main ones. But there's it gives you, if every artist here had that person who makes them see things that they don't see, because that's the point of being a visionary. You can be a visionary, but you need the pushers. And so you always need somebody who's going to see the other stuff that can be done with whatever it is that you're trying to do, or where else you could get. And they take you to where they're supposed to take you. And, you know, the plugs are very important. Man, they are.
I was a shop one day, Guzalunga.
Yeah.
Do you remember the time where you were performing maybe Wapimba so where you hit a rock note?
All the time. All the time. I just know how to, because I've been on stage for a very long time. And I just know how, if I do it, you wouldn't even know I did it sometimes, you know. But I do remember before I was this person, when I sang a song and I totally forgot the lyrics, and I'm in front of people, the whole church. And, the lyrics just disappeared. I didn't even, like, I actually just was,
Wow.
and I froze. And my friends did not forget that for years. They laughed at me. They laughed at me for that for years. My little sister did not let that go for a very long time, because it was such an embarrassing thing. The whole church is waiting for you, and I forgot the lyrics. But Bimba, I was like, the other Bimba I used to do before I was his first. I have Iro Jam, you know, it's very, it's yeah. I get to places. So, but before I could actually like proper sing, like control my voice and things like that, I used to always sing high. And not like with bimbering or anything, but I'm like starting it all the time, man. I actually remember that the other day. So my first time singing Ikuro Capella, I was like,
What Lolanda A sharp straight.
like,
That is a color, man.
you know?
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, yeah.
That's the only thing. Otherwise, I'm perfect.
Yeah, confidence. It's the confidence for me.
Yeah.
Take us through the making of your debut album, Grace Fulfilled, in 2018, yeah? Yeah. How does that come about?
Graceful Field is very fast. It's not even a long story. I started working on it with 2017. I finished it 2018, launched it 30 June 2018. I'll never forget that, because that year was such a weird year for me, and there was so much happening for me. And I was recording from money that I was getting, because I was a schooler still. And so I would just get, the money that I would get, and I would take it to studio. And so it took a long time. It took a long time to finish, because it was really just 8 songs that were already there. But it took forever to record them, because, not only of the finances, but also because I've told Just Percy this, that I'm taking him and his wife. I'm taking you guys, once I'm a millionaire, not a millionaire, once I have a lot of money. Because if I say millionaire, it's too small. But once I have a lot of money and I'm going to take a bunch of people that have helped me throughout my career so far to like the longest vacation. I'm going to take the kids somewhere else and just take you to the Bahamas or somewhere, because
Bali,
because
Greece.
we are supporting
Definitely.
now by
We can document the whole thing.
Another interview.
Yeah, we can document the
we
whole
can give
thing
you
and
one
then
day. It's fine. We'll give you maybe one day. Then we'll fly you back. But yeah,
just 2
because
days. Other than we're refreshing by the beach,
Yeah,
so
taking
because
pictures and
you can take pictures. We can
Yeah.
allow you to do that. It's fine. But him and his wife, they gave me a half off, it was called a discount sort of thing, because I was really struggling to pay for studio time all the time. So they just told me we signed on something, and it was I was paying half the normal studio time amount, and so that I could just get the album out. And I'm saying it right now because it's Jazz and JNA, but back then, man, because I was really doing it on my own. And so, yeah.
So, how was it launching the album? Because you'd find, ukuthi, I think the last time we had to do some Kaya was tell of a story where but be performer, they had people like booing them, or maybe like people don't come go launch. How was it like? How was the album launch?
So the only negative thing about that launch was that I didn't do what I wanted to do, because I was so fearful. I was doing. It is gospel music. I really am just adamant about calling it something else, but it is. So there was a way that people would always launch their projects. So I didn't want to do it because I didn't relate to it. But I didn't have the full guts. When I had half guts, but I didn't have the full guts to really do what I wanted to do. So I wanted to do an acoustic thing, which I did years later of actually now doing acoustic sets. Because, but I wanted to do it like that, just simple. And there was this, the way I scat, especially back then. Now I scat, but, saying about lazy man. But, back then, the way I used to scat, there's stuff I used to do with my music and the music I would get. I wanted to do that fully, and I just had this idea for it, this picture for it. But I didn't have the guts for it. So we did like full band, and, I remember my makeup was bad. And I remember because I could have spent money on that, but also that was money on me. But, I was helped by a few people back then. I remember, I will always give credit to Early Entertainment for this one, because they really helped me. In that time, they advertised it and stuff. So we partnered on it, on launching the album. And people came because a lot of people had been waiting for a project. That's the funny thing. But I don't have anything bad to say about the outcome of that. Usaphuza though, but
2018, 2018 like COVID.
Yeah, and I gave people coffee because I love feeding. So most of the times I host something, I feed people. So I was really glad that I fed people.
Indlela endithanda ngayo ukudla, especially
hosting
kwama.
soon.
So ngizokhuluma ngama-guts sithi get guts yabo. And what's your take on nudity kuma music videos?
Right.
Like
Here in Vlaio, here in Zim, Africa,
in general.
the world.
In general.
In
for
Zim.
now. Yeah.
Have I seen anything? I can't think of anything I've seen that's not.
But you think they should?
I feel, here's the thing about Zim. I feel let me just say we want to go, but we don't fully go because our culture and our environment doesn't really fully allow us. It's like Korean movies back then, you wouldn't see them kiss, but you see them get close.
Yeah.
Or you see them hug. So we are still on the don't fully. So when someone does something, that's why they break out and trend. But it's not really something new. But I haven't seen them. But why would you ask me that? Though?
But
The spice.
But do you think it's something that Bulawayo artists should maybe be doing?
Nude videos.
Yeah.
Not really like nude.
Kuphume, I'm
like
trying.
showing thighs.
Yeah, like your Cardi B.
There's one.
Oh, Cardi B's, that's a stretch.
Megan Thee Stallion.
I feel here's the thing with artists. I feel if that's your artistry, if you're gonna do something, here's the thing. If you're gonna do something, do it in full. Don't have to do it.
Keep his goals, keep it.
If you're going to do that, do it. Vimbai does it all the time. Vimbai is motto, if you know. When she decides, she just does it. She decided a long time ago, that's what I'm going to do, and she does it. And people already now know that they flow with that. People will respect, even if they don't like it, but they will respect that you've decided. You understand what I mean? I feel here, a lot of artists here, why am I starting there? I feel sometimes, not here. I feel somewhere, like in China, that a lot of artists don't fully do things because we're so, we're scared of what's going to happen. So
So-
we actually don't
Wesaba
own
ukuthi
a thing.
ungayenza i-music video ugqoke iphenti sabe sihlangana lawa etown sithi
Nangumaphenti.
engagqokanga
Yeah.
umntaka namampo engagqokanga sihambe
Even
keep isigqoko.
singasafika etown
Our house is
elayinini
not
omama
like we
belayinini.
So do you think Konoko i-culture nale yiyo withholder some of the artists ukuthi benze those kind of things?
To fully express yourself.
Yeah.
To an extent, because when I'm talking about the guts that I have, there are things that people respond to when I do certain videos in a certain way. If I had like a proper budget, there's a lot of things you would see. Obviously not nude, but certain ideas that. But it becomes a big deal even in the small. It's like a lot of people who would hit me up about Imvana and some things they saw them like, oh, for Christian music. Wow, but like it's not really wow because we're creatives. You understand what I mean? But our setup is in such a way, Oguti, everything what's it called? Illimited. You wanna be respectful to your neighbor, which is not a bad thing. There's just there's just the negatives of that, of let me consider what Mgcini is gonna feel.
Yeah.
If I'm showing my booty there.
Yeah.
You understand? So creatives in Vlayo, in Matebeleland, already in developed people are not loud people. We are not as figure when you're like, hey, what the
But do you think
But Shona people,
eh,
if a Shona person is in a place and
definitely
they're
know.
just really themselves and they're Shona. Zugudi. Panacha. All of you are in the conversation. I'm choveni. You're
Yeah.
bound to hear Shona person. Already is how we are made up.
okay, so do you think Konokiana behavior nalana yiyo enza amabulawa artists not to maybe blow up because they are too reserved?
I don't think so. I think there's other things to that. I think there's so many reasons to that, socioeconomic reasons.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but that's definitely that can be a constraint to someone who considers that. Because there are artists who do not consider that. That's not a thing
Okay.
for them. They can dance, they can, sing a song whichever way
And
they want
twerk.
to, right?
Man vele artist ko bulawa sela ke labona e perform e kanyizbon.
I can't. Why would you?
No, good.
It would be weird. Because
Yeah.
the environment, maybe if they
No, but
put
you
in
get
a
views.
But I don't think it would be weird, man.
You get
Because now
views.
I don't know.
But now
Okay,
But I
picture
don't
the BAAs during the performances time. Who is so and so, let's say Shady, and Dukel Shady is no, does not refer to anyone. Shady is nominated and she's that artist, and she comes out and starts performing that. Look at the people that are watching, because the BAAs and the people that are attending. Look at the responses, because
But
a lot
I
of
get-
people here, what some was saying, they boo you, they boo them, right? A lot of people here will heckle because it'll be you be laughed at, or people will just be offended, but will just be looking at you like.
I imagine phezulu keep his go, abantu bafike bakuthi who lama views ku YouTube angakhweli. Just
It's
And then now everyone knows your spoon.
hey,
Also.
now the whole country knows your ndunu now.
so you
For
say you'll
Mahara.
be risking it for nothing.
For Mahara. Eish. So one of your songs, ingoma le ivele kuhlala kukhulunywa nga every time if you mention Vuyo Brown, 2 hours. But mina question yami
Oh, that's nice.
I question yami because mina ngiyalalela music noma ngingakwanisa ukuhlabela but ngiyalalela. Ingoma lena did you sample that Christian song? What's the
hymn.
Yeah, be still and know. Be still and know that I am Lord. Did you sample that?
Well, I can't sample it because that's a different melody.
Okay.
And that's a hymn. So that's already known. But it's definitely the verse.
Okay.
The verse of the song. So Berito was coming into town. I always tell this story, but very shortly, very quickly. Sorry, Berito was coming into town, and I was asked to be one of the performers, and I wanted to do. I can't repeat sets. I get bored, so I always do something new. So I wanted to put just one new song on that day. And, we were already in a bad time. It was before COVID, but prices were going up literally every Monday, if you remember. Bro, like, there was no water. Electricity cuts. So I was like, you know what, the country right now is just feeling down.
Zimbabwe kunzima ifowena
So,
ucharge itoilet
Everything was really bad.
awugezi
Everything
like
was bad. So originally, Usulawazi was actually a actual direct social commentary because I was talking about Aslamanzi and stuff like that. So when I performed it the first time, I wanted to do that. But when I prayed about it, I sat there on my bed, I remember, because I was like, I want to do this song. So Be Still got Travis Green came to mind. If you know, be still and know that I am God.
Yeah,
And I was like, no,
know
but I
it.
don't do covers. I can't do Travis Green.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. But that's the message is what was being repeated to me. So I just sat there about a few more minutes later and I just started humming the melody of Tulawazi. And then I decided, no, let me just Right.
Actually, I think that's the first time I actually saw you performing. We went Gaberita.
Oh.
And that's the time that I actually fell in love with the song. I was like, wow.
Really?
Yeah, I was blown
interesting.
away.
Because the original was...
mina ngizoyinqamba amanga ngithi ngangikhona kusho
was
ingoma ngizwe 2 days back. It's a very good song.
But yeah,
Yeah, but I
originally
know,
it
it's
was- I didn't sample it, but it is a scripture. So
Okay.
I took it from there's so many Be Still and Knows or Tulawazis
Okay.
in the world. But,
But
that
it's
was
a,
the point.
it's a nice song. You guys should listen. I think we'll also add maybe the links to your
Yeah.
music with description. Abantu bethu abayi-2 ababukela i-podcast bambe bayalalele. At least gain two
Yeah.
more fans, you know.
That's called false humility, but it's okay. Alright.
So how does the collaboration, is it La Santa?
Oh, yeah.
La Santa.
I do vocals.
Okay?
And a lot of people hit me up for, like I said, there's a lot of songs you've heard where I just won't be named because there are some times when I'm just doing the vocal, so you pay me for the vocal.
Because-
I write it for you, I sing it for you, and you take it. So, but with La Santa, she wanted it to be 50-50. So, that became, what's the name? Love Me Now.
Yeah.
Not Call Me Now. Love Me Now. Love Me Now. Because, that's in English and French.
Were you singing La Pagomba or going
I'm
kuphela throughout?
ad-libbing. It's the type of music it is bro, I do all types of music. Some of it I don't even listen to, you know?
Yeah,
Not
so-
even genres I listen to, but it will be a job or it will be fun. I love experimenting, so it will be fun.
So do you perform those songs?
No, if I have to or if I ever have a gig, my sets suit where I am.
Okay.
So if I ever have a gig that is in Spain or France or, whichever country and it's that kind of set, I definitely would, because it would make sense to that place. So
Yeah. Speaking of further on collaborations, how do you end up collaborating with bigger brands such as Old Mutual and Simbisa brands? Pela, we've been trying to get those people for the past 5 years now,
And they won't budge.
and we're struggling.
What did I do with Momisho? What did I do with Simbisa brands? I don't remember anything unless I've just performed.
Or maybe it's just performances.
Yeah, because
But that's something, Pela.
Well, that happens literally. That kind of comes with the job because if the Old Mutual one, if I remember, if it's not the child care, what is it? If we're not celebrating something, then usually we're celebrating something. So I'm bound to be, maybe if I'm suggested or my name is brought up, then they hire me. That's really just being hired for something, But if it grows into something further, then maybe,
So you don't apply like about Dingabon.
For some of these gigs.
Yeah.
Well, for some of these gigs, that's kind of the job. That comes with the job. Is that sometimes,
You have to reach out to
yeah,
them.
so no chat that, and you're like, oh, okay, who do I want? I want this type of sound. I want this. Then you
there's
reach
Vuyo
out.
Brown.
Yeah,
I won't come to you because I don't know you.
Also,
So I won't
chatter.
just randomly.
Also, chat, I suggest use Sound Culture. They have very good sound.
Sound culture is,
They're the
it's my
best.
home, man. It's my home.
Yeah, welcome home.
But I love everyone. I love everyone else. I love you all.
There's sound culture. There's everyone else.
I
that
just
there's
like
sound culture.
I tend to be loyal to things. So if I start eating a certain type of bread, I'm gonna eat it for the next 5 years. That's how I am.
Yeah, meaning Guti Gadesh, you've done an interview with ByoPodcast. You're never doing an interview again.
To be honest, that you're onto something. I'm gonna say this just briefly, but I'm really not into doing interviews anymore where I'm open. I was listening to one that I did years ago. I was shocked because I'm not as open anymore. I don't give out anything anymore. So when I like you, then I'll do it. But lately, I'm not.
So Tinya
Not
stand.
Why?
available.
Is it maybe because you don't want to answer personal questions or...
You don't
I'm
want to be
just in a season.
controversial.
I'm no longer in the season that I was in back then.
Oh,
I just
okay.
don't feel like.
Alright.
But I liked you guys. So otherwise, I would have probably said, "Is it okay if we do it maybe next
Here's
year?"
a blush. Yeah,
No, I'll
they
remove
like
my
us.
comment.
Outstanding. What are the challenges have you faced as an artist, as a musician, or as a pastor?
Oh, okay. Oh, interesting. I did not think we're going there, but
Yeah.
very interesting. Every time I'm asked this question, I feel like I'm back in class. And, back in varsity where you have to do an essay,
Yeah.
20 marks, 25 marks. But it's really the usual. For me, I won't speak for everybody else, but I think
Yeah.
it really applies to as many artists as possible. When you are self-funded or you're doing something that you are pushing yourself, then definitely financial constraints are, they delay a lot of things.
Yeah.
And that is the only one that I speak on. That is the only one I prefer to talk about because everything else I can always overcome. But things really always work out.
Yeah.
Things always work out. In the pastoral, there's just so many, man. Because I'm young and I'm single. Actually, I think they're the same.
Oh,
A
so you're
lot of
single.
times we. I'm not married.
single.
I'm not married.
I was
That's
about to
what I
ask.
meant. So
Are you searching?
Women searching is a very interesting topic that we will have one day.
But she's single, guys.
Women searching
Uzile.
is no.
Uzwile
I'm
fa?
not married. But yeah,
Please.
I think that the challenges are the same for the pastoral and being a
Yeah.
female artist. We're in Women's Month, so a lot of people are reaching out and want me to speak on, and other female artists to speak on what are the challenges you face in the industry as a woman. They're all the same, but
Okay.
they apply because the pastoral is actually very difficult for a female pastor. But that's a conversation for another time.
But do you think ukuthi the music industry in Bulawayo right now so kule gender equality in terms of giving space to female artists as compared to the males?
And I'm not a fan of answering for Blayo because it's such a small space.
Yeah.
But definitely it's something that see answer. It's a problem, it's a Tolama answers.
Okay.
And that's obviously because a lot of
Globally.
because a lot of women are getting into the positions of power when it comes to things like that. So a lot of times, there's 2020, I think. I actually noticed that a lot of people were hiring me out for certain gigs that were actually really big type of gigs were females. The people that would be reaching out to me or the person I'll be dealing with was a female. So obviously she's gonna think, okay, I'm gonna go. So we are giving each other or putting each other, we're putting each other in those spaces. So the more women have the power, the more we have
space
that.
has been opened for other
Otherwise,
women as
men
well.
will always. Our problem was never my problem was never about our male counterparts giving more gigs. No, it's because it's easier for them. It's easier for them, It's easier for them to have fans. It's easier for them to have, to get things because women on women. If you see a woman liking a woman, it is a big deal, guys.
Yes.
It is something to be said. We should have a party.
Yes.
Yeah.
That
But,
is true.
so usually it really works out when a male gets on stage. When a female gets on stage, you have to have the respect. You have to have accolades. You have to have earned it and deserve
Yes,
it.
because
So,
how dare
Yeah.
you?
you understand? So, we have double the work. I said this recently. I'm saying it again.
But ungambe stage in out scream shem. But ngebhesa. Because now I can say
So that would be recorded because it's just going, oh, sorry.
Do you believe Uti there's gatekeeping in the music industry in Zimbabwe? Like,
Answer.
Everything what?
why does not that man?
It's crying.
And again, before answer, just know that no one watches this podcast.
Yeah, you
We're
can
just
feel
chilling. I want to
free.
sell so feni.
Relaxile.
Akula lutho lapha, and before answer, mana discuss natamanzi. Sibe sharp then suspend. I was asking, do you believe that we have gatekeepers in Zimbabwe, not just Bulawayo, because hey, sengakufaka ekhoneni yabo.
Yeah.
Ugcina usungasakhulumanga ukuthi sinama gatekeepers anjengoba sibani bani osebenza ku radio station liyana yabo. So, but do you think they are gatekeepers?
Every industry has gatekeepers. Every type of industry has gatekeepers.
Ay, thola ukuthi
So in
that's a
other
podcast
words,
lapha bathi
it's a
singama
yes.
gatekeeper
It's
podcast.
definitely yes. It's inevitable. Wait, there are gatekeepers on the podcast. Maybe, but I really do because everyone who has gone before you, there are people who already have things established way before you. So when you are coming in, there's someone who determines. Already, media is like that. There's people who determine. Mainstream media is like that. There's people who determine what goes out. That
Yeah.
person is a gatekeeper. It's inevitable.
But don't you think ukuthi iphase yona lena sesidlulile where we tolerate maybe ama gatekeepers, because now as an artist you can record ivideo yakho endlini ungayihambisanga ku ZFM, ungayihambisanga Sky's Metro, you upload it ku Spotify, Apple Music, even la ku YouTube. Don't you feel like as an artist, it's not a matter of gatekeepers blocking some of the artists making it, but rather your talent maybe that didn't land?
Oh yeah.
You know what? The job of a gatekeeper, like I said, because now we look at gatekeeper as if gatekeepers are block all the time. No, they determine what goes out, right? So that then becomes one of the ways that artists or creatives or whatever then have their content out there, right? With someone determining whether it's going out or not. But the gatekeeper does not go away because that thing can be bad or can be good. But if the gatekeeper determines that it is good, then it can make it to another sect or another place. You
Is
understand?
it?
Yeah.
So because you can release your song right now and it plays wherever. YouTube is already free, it's available for
Yeah, yeah.
everybody, yes. But you needed to get to certain places. If you care about those places are where someone determines what goes out.
Yeah.
That person won't go anywhere because it's their job.
But I feel like
But
if
I also think ukuthi maybe our own artists they are not utilizing this
The ways they
for
can
whatever
get.
reasons, or they are not even well educated about some of these things,
Okay.
or maybe they don't see the bigger picture because they limit themselves
Because-
because
You
they're
cannot-
thinking of this box, not seeing what you can actually. There's actually something that you can do outside of this box, in terms of like our Bulawayo artists thinking for Bulawayo and not thinking of the bigger picture, because we have like other artists. Okay, I'm not going to take a spotlight, but I feel like there are other artists. For example, or Leslie Campbell. I don't know if you know him.
who's that down?
I noticed Dogoti's got like a huge fan base
Give me one,
outside of Bulawayo, outside of
When's the
Zim.
new list?
He's an artist. He's a musician.
R&B.
Yeah, R&B type of.
Okay.
I actually didn't know him up until they approached me with to do a video with him. So I didn't know him, Mina. But I actually noticed Duguti, he sees the bigger picture. And he also, okay, let me not speak for him and the gatekeeping and whatnot, but I just feel like he sees the bigger picture in terms of not boxing himself. Ukuthi even if they don't play his music on certain stations and whatnot, but he sees the bigger picture and understands ukuthi you can actually have a huge fan base outside of Bulawayo, outside of those people that are trying to gatekeep certain things. So I think maybe our artists, maybe they don't they don't understand that, or they're not well educated, or they don't see the bigger picture.
So here we're addressing people who have brought up the conversation
Yeah.
about gatekeepers, right?
Yeah.
Because not every artist from Blayo complains. That's the other thing that we need to remember.
Yeah.
Leslie's music actually plays on Power FM.
Yeah,
For it to get on Power FM, somebody had to put it on Power FM.
true.
So that person becomes a gatekeeper. Everyone can be a gatekeeper as long as you have certain powers that determine what goes out. Now, my thing is, if you're an artist, like you're saying, if seeing the bigger picture, again, that also applies, and it's an option. It's not a must, because there are artists who only want their music here, and that's okay. There are artists who only want their music in Zimbabwe, and that's okay. The problem comes with everyone who wants more, right? And then only is thinking less. That's the only problem you have. Because if I can only be for Zim, I'm only for Zim. There are artists who actually are only marketable in Zim. There are artists who can't go out.
Yeah.
There are artists who are not relatable to an outside market.
Yeah.
Then there's someone who a Shona person can listen to, a Kalanga person can listen to, be like, okay. There's a person who a Spanish person can listen to, be like, okay. So not every, now the problem with these talks, right, these discussions, bless them, let's have them. But let's just, at some point it has to end, because now we're putting pressure on, if artists now feel like, oh, I have to have more, have a vision. That's another thing. Artists don't have a vision.
True.
So you
Alila vision.
can't put something on someone.
Yeah. Plus, enye into esengicabanga, I feel like issue gatekeeping. So by excuse. You would maybe
Yes.
you produce something
Yes.
thinking that this one is a banger, this one.
Yeah.
Then
But
maybe
because
if
I'm
you
your
might
friend,
feel,
and then like I'm actually not being honest with you.
Now see, ingoma yakhona izafika ebantwini, you start getting 23 views now. Then just
You
like
say
our
there's someone
podcast.
gatekeeping.
Then you start saying, gatekeepers are the reason why.
Yeah, that's why it
Yabo.
didn't win an award. That's why they didn't play it on Pi FM.
No, bro. Like,
Yeah.
even people who win awards. Do you know people who win awards? There's the time when they were not even known.
Yeah.
Nobody could care less about them. But the work, or sometimes, that's why I said I'm going to be indirect, because it's not my job to then teach you
Yeah.
how to have a vision or what to do, because you have your own journey. You do what works for you, right? But if you're complaining, please make sure, when we are complaining, we have to make sure it is actually legit. You approached a person, they said, nah, we're not putting the song on radio because it doesn't work. But then you went through the streets and you played it for people and it worked.
Yeah.
You can.
You
Yeah.
understand? Because it is the job of that committee to make sure the songs that come out are the songs that push our radio station, first of all, our audience wants, first of all. I mean, that we've been doing, there's a time when, what's the guy who Napoleon and Nama. There's a time he did,
Bese mbona ngani khuluma nge-Easter ngathi yo ngambhanka wayisusa inkulumo sakwazi next Napoleon.
so there's a time he was doing a Facebook interview in 2020, and I bumped into it actually. And again, the people that attend these things or see these things, these workshops that we've been talking about, the people that go to them are people who already know these things, by the way. But there's a time when he actually had one, and he's a major person because he knows all these places. And he was talking about the different radio stations and what research and do this. But that stuff you would know if you're doing research. There's no way you're going to start selling tomatoes and you don't even know which tomatoes work, which tomatoes people want. Where do I get the tomatoes? Where am I supposed to sell them? But you want things done for you? If you're that person, bless you. I don't know how far you're going to go. Because you got to be willing to put in the work.
Awinda.
I mean, you got to be willing to put in the work, you know? So research. If not research, fine. Hang out with someone who knows if it's not you. That's okay too. But you cannot be still complaining about things that are my life, guys. I'm not in a conversation there because this all is lives. Workshop. We're going, hey, please join us. In the online what? Since 2020 and 2021. The whole
Busy
conversation has
imali.
been
Kuma workshops wena la kudliwa izimali. Told abantu bayebefundile. These are funded workshops.
Yeah.
Then
And
they
actually get
just
money.
maybe bakhiphe $500 balithengele chicken in. Sebethathe imali sebefaka esikhwameni.
That is actually true.
iZimbabwe vele njalo
actually
ma ukunika ithenda lokuthi wena wenze imtakwini ulungisa amaphotholo uye lapha uphonga uthela inhlabathi because you know what following day bazakulanda
Chebe.
baphenduka futhi uzoyenza because you're getting money yabo
Yeah.
I feel like yafanana lelo kuze lama workshops la
But the thing is, at least if you're going to complain, make sure you've attended one and it didn't work.
Yeah.
Because you cannot be complaining when there's all these resources. They are for you, they are free. But our phone, if you just prefer.
just wanna
Because you have to
complain.
understand the other thing about it, complain is an addiction. You get used to complaining because the energy you use complaining feels like you're actually fixing something. It feels like a purpose. Be careful of that.
And you start having like this.
So manje then
this victim syndrome,
And then you connect,
just- yes,
and then so me and
now
you
you're-
meet now.
yes.
Now we're going to go fix it. Now we have a whole crew.
And then all of a sudden we're victims.
And the victim mentality is so easy.
I know
Dang.
it is very.
So yeah, but bottom line is gatekeepers are there.
Okusala bakhona.
They are inevitable. They're going to be there. But I don't know if I don't like the conversation. But I don't know if that's what's happening anymore. I was still a power, but
So Poto.
no, because you mentioned all these different streams.
Yeah.
So the power is being taken away from them, except in the small little spaces that they. So if you want that space, then definitely.
Because this is social media now.
Yeah.
You can't block me from opening a TikTok account. Who are you?
And honestly, guys, I just feel like our creators in Blawayo or Zim as a large, we are not utilizing social media.
No,
the way
I
that
think
we're
we
supposed
can
to
say Bulawayo because Harare. Look
Yeah.
at this guy that was trending. Twani.
Oh yes, snake
The
under
snake,
grass,
it's not even
whatever.
funny, but it was trending.
And it did.
Nkhulumela mina.
Yeah. No, but
Disclaimer.
but
That is
no.
a good point.
Now that you're putting it like
Yeah,
that,
So
I
okay,
totally agree.
Benombuzo Molandila was to say, do you believe that an artist can make it as Zimbabwe or Bulawayo without moving maybe to other countries? Because we had another guest foot that was saying, Ushasha labantu iqiniso. Shasha was saying, no, I want to tell an artist in Bulawayo that they can make it in Bulawayo. No, that's a lie. You have to go somewhere to make it. Njengokuthi yena wahambe essay.
yeah.
Ukuthi kuphumelele. So do you believe that an artist can make it music industry here Bulawayo ekhonapho without moving to other countries?
It depends on the genre and what you're doing and who it applies to. And because my belief on that one is Uguti, that saying of a prophet is without honor in his own country, on his own home, it's not random. It's said because it exists. So it doesn't then exist because it's been said. It's not a prophecy.
Yeah.
So it is natural for people not to appreciate what they have. The same way I'll be sitting here with you, and someone from the UK then says to me, hey, you were sitting next to them. Do you even know what they do? Blah blah blah. Then I'm like, oh, okay, I didn't. It's natural, as for human beings. So I think depending on what you do, you can, if you're meant to make it here. But people will appreciate something that's been appreciated somewhere else. So Shasha was noticed because she was appreciated somewhere else. Then now people are paying attention to her. There's no two ways about it.
So now do you think that maybe career yako is going that path where sizathola UK Vuyo Brown all of a sudden you're saying I know Vuyo
No,
Brown
go on,
guys
guy.
I interviewed
Where's
Vuyo Brown
Zimbabwe?
we know her, she's our friend, that one.
Yeah.
Like do you believe ukuthi do you think actually ukuthi career yako iyakhona pa?
I believe. I think it's possible.
Yeah.
I think it's possible simply because of, like I said, people don't see what they have. It's very possible.
Yeah.
But I will not say that it will happen. I just think it's possible because everything is possible. It's possible today it could rain. It's possible tomorrow it could snow. Everything is possible.
You don't realize into life that you
Until-
have what is important until it's gone.
Until
Take
it's
for
gone, that's
example, tissue paper dog. Tissue moyikhangile lapha. Nansi yani tissue lapha, just tissue.
It's just tissue.
Ayila msebenzi, but ngene toilet wenza
Ingekho.
so kumele uyisebenzise, then you'll see. ukuthi
Uthatha uyabiza endlini uthi ngicela itissue kuthiwa ayikho.
Not even
Siphelile.
endlini. Uko girlfriend. Akusela tissue toilet.
How is that the example that came to your mind? Like, how is
Sikuze-
that the analogy that you thought of?
sikuze futhi uzuzama lokuflasha uzuthi nama ngisazi. But yeah, going back to the serious things, abantu abarealize. So do you feel like yinto enzakalayo right now ukuthi the city or the country are not realizing ukuthi music yakho is good. Actually, music yakho is good.
No, it is proper.
Wait,
Like it's proper stuff, yabo.
Yeah.
are you saying they're not realizing that my music is good? Or they're not realizing how good my music is?
They're not paying attention.
You're not, yeah.
I don't have, I'm not a complainer, never have been. I know what I'm doing, I know where I'm going. So all I know is if there is such a person, they exist, if they ever feel that, they should have comfort that I never expected them to. It's okay. Because I already know what I'm doing and where it's supposed to go. And I'm good with it. So the only thing, obviously, I cannot share. I don't share that. But I do because I'm working for a reason. And it's okay. You don't have to appreciate me. My music is not for everybody. But
So,
if you ever feel that, don't feel bad. It's okay.
so now, do you listen to your own music or maybe you record?
And then I leave it.
Upload abanye balalele. What do you listen to? Do you listen to your own music or just record?
Or you cringe when you listen
Yeah.
to it.
No, the only things I can't watch sometimes are my live performances.
Okay.
But I can listen to what I did because I never repeat something. And a lot of times when I'm creating, when I'm doing something, especially the melodies and stuff, they're outside of me. So I'm also a fan of the melodies that I get or the song. I'm like, like, obviously, because we were talking about Tulawazi.
Yeah.
That's one of them because there's some things in there that were like, and a lot of that song is really God speaking because I'm speaking. It's God's voice, and that I don't pretend that I wouldn't write a song or wouldn't do that if it wasn't actually Him speaking, and He is saying Tulawazi, everything is going to be okay, and that was to me, and that song means the world to me because, so when I listen to it and I'm in a tough time or I need to be reminded that hey, don't worry, remember, this is going to happen, that's going to happen, you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
So I definitely do listen to a lot of my music because a lot of it is outside of me.
Okay. Yeah.
Do you have any favorite song from like all the songs that you've ever done? Or
My favorite song from my songs. I'm probably going to mention all of them. But
Just one.
every song that I love Runyararo. I love every time I perform Runyararo live. I have a song called Runyararo, and when I perform it live, it's different from the recorded one. It's different from the recorded one because, like I said, I don't repeat a set. And definitely every time I sing Tulawazi, Tulawazi has a life of its own, to be honest. It's that child that you just and definitely like I said, I'll mention all of them because I'm also love Mvana. I love Mvana. I love the song called Daisai Jesu. I loved it.
Sorry, no,
Yeah, it's okay.
No, but I wanted to ask you something. Like, it just came to my mind right now. It's a bit personal, but as a pastor, no, not that personal, not
Okay.
that no. But as a pastor, and I don't know how to say it, but okay, let me just say it like this. Currently, with everything that's happening, right, people connecting with themselves spiritually, and I think that's why maybe there's a lot of like African spirituality that's happening, like people connecting spiritually like their own African way. And when as a pastor, how do you see that?
How do I see people connecting?
Like the African spirituality compared to like Christianity.
Madlozi.
Like amadlozi, indabazonali. Like how do you take that? What's your take on that as a pastor?
It's funny that you say as a pastor because there's no different person. Like it will still be the same. I'll still be the same person either way, right? I'll answer it the same. But I do also get why you're saying as a pastor because then there's a belief system I'm supposed to have, right?
Yeah.
That I then speak from.
True.
But I'm generally, Vuyo Brown is a live and let live person. And here's why. Because I prefer people have their own journeys. So if there's something that I feel you should believe in instead, I will not force it down you because that's not even how it's supposed to be done. I would rather you come into it yourself because then it's your journey. It's different as from when Umama is taking you to church and when you now want to go to church yourself.
Yeah.
It's a relationship thing. So I feel, the times I've been asked that is I feel if you have a relationship with God, an actual relationship with God, He says yes or no. So when you ask Him that, is this okay to do, is that not okay to do? So even if as I'm saying this and you're thinking, okay, this is not relatable because then not, how am I supposed to know? Am I supposed to talk? That means it's something you should be seeking. Because that you should be able to ask Him because He is the overall creator of everything, right? So what is He okay with? What is He not okay with? That is something you should be seeking. Not these debates of what's right and what's not right. Yeah, they shouldn't be doing this. That is not even important. And on the final day, it won't even matter. Because on the final day, you'll be standing by yourself on that judgment day. Oh.
So you don't believe, you
Yes,
do believe
India.
there is heaven and hell and the devil and he's going to fry us.
The devil can't fry you because he's also being cast into the same fire, but that's a whole other thing. That's a whole other conversation. Oh, Satan's a fire with devil.
Now Satan was on fire.
Oh, okay. So
Okay.
I definitely do believe in that, yeah.
Okay.
I do believe it, not in it. You know how you say,
yeah.
do you believe in, but no, I do believe it
believe
because
it,
I
not
know
really
it.
in it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that answers that. I prefer that to be my
bit.
answer because I cannot speak to your experience. That's not I don't do that.
That's
I
not
don't
your
believe
truth.
in
So you
that.
can only speak on your
I
truth.
cannot judge you.
Yeah. Opinion, but so on a lighter note, rather, or skulume ngento nje as general nje. Like, what's your take on ilobola being optional? I think check news.
Basidelile.
The government is saying lobola is now optional. When we team up,
So
So here's the thing about me, right? It's having if you remember what's it called? When I'm forgetting it. What's that thing on Twitter? The account, the Blyo, not Blyo,
Curate.
your I'm just gonna remember.
curate
Yes,
your
create Blyo. So there's a time I did, and I started the topic of I hate that like all these relatives come to your wedding that you don't even know, and they're coming to celebrate this personal thing with you, but they literally don't even remember your name. But they just have to be there, you know? But I'm not a believer in that because there's so much of me that's not into a lot of tradition and culture. So I wasn't raised in it, so it doesn't, a lot of it, Lobola is one of them. I believe in gifts, right? Because the lobola part, if you call it a gift, fine. But the lobola parts that then make things difficult for me and my husband, I don't want. So, Mina, I want you come and give the gifts. Now my mom is passed, so you come and give the gifts. Appreciate my dad for what he has done, and sure, my sister because she's my sister. Because we're three too.
Also-
She stands in the gap, man.
Okay.
The respect and the honor of I'm now taking your child away. What you should leave the house and go cleave. I'm now taking your child away. I'm respecting you. I'm honoring you. Thank you. What. Me now, I would prefer my dad actually takes that money and be like, it's okay, my son. Just take it and then give us back. Because we are going to start our life. Whenever you have lived your life, us we need to go start and begin. And that all of it, would not even some of it, all of it. Because we're going to buy you a car. Later on, we're going to invite you to our house. We're going to take you out on holidays. We're going to appreciate you.
Yeah.
Okay, now, by the way,
There's a
there's the
podcast.
wedding also.
Yeah.
Save money, guys. Save money. Some of this wedding and then lobola.
I know,
then
but
outfits.
I feel like I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm looking at it from the cultural perspective. Lobola should be there because of what it stands for.
It should be there as an option.
Maybe
She's
as an
right.
option. I don't know, but for me, personally,
Mana ngutshele now what I think ilobola. Ilobola lishap. Asiyali sikhule ilobola likhona.
Okay.
But ma selikhichiwe ilobola malikhitshwe yebo sibili. Nxa uyimali mayibe reasonable. And nxa imali yona lena sikhichiwe ayithathwa ngabadala. Inikeni ikhaphu yona leyo echadayo kare sabahlanganayo ukuthi bayenzani bayoqala yabe ifamily. because bazayidinga imali bayadinga indlu bazadinga maybe imota bazadinga ukuthi bahlale like bazadinga izifuyo zona lezo so ilobola malikhitshwe bese linikwane abantu bona laba abachadayo.
Yeah. Just don't tell them. You're always surprised.
I mean, I just feel like ilobola, the thing is, our families now, sebenza ilobola way business. But if you go back to what ilobola stands for,
Okay.
ilobola, even like, I don't know about the Shona culture, but in the Ndebele culture, ilobola liqedwa.
Okay.
And to keep whatever that you have. Ngaze bethi inkomo ezingu-100, ungathi mina ngile 2, lezi ngizabe ngikhipha ezinye after, you understand? But khathesi, umuntu yakutshela ukuthi uVuyo, she went to DC. It's a private school.
Nami ngafunde futhi.
Uvuyo is a graduate
Mbizo
from
lami.
whatever university that you went to.
Nami ngafunde
Uvuyo is a performing artist and a celebrity. So you understand. So now they package you into a sellable brand.
So ngani kuyathengiswa.
So ngani yathengiswa. But which is not what ilobola is supposed to be for. So I think because of that, maybe I would support it. But generally, I just feel like
but,
ilobola should
Oh,
just
so
be
you should go back to the original.
Yes.
Because usithi
I hear that,
uyabufuna kubonge like the father maybe ngithengele into ayithanda out of curiosity ubaba kuthanda.
Who am I telling? Who am I telling? Yeah, who am I telling?
You're telling the viewers. Maybe
Oh
there's a
my
future
gosh.
husband watching.
I don't know. You know, like, I mean, this is me talking, you know, but I don't even know if that actually is going to pass. I would love for my dad to just say that, but I don't even know that's going to pass. Because me and funny enough, because I've got a sister, she actually wants lobola. And I just don't. So my dad is so easy. He's the easiest guy ever. So I don't know, like, just give gifts to appreciate. No, I mean, but the thing about gifts and what people don't understand, gifts can be Lamborghinis. Gift can be gold.
Yeah.
So when say you're giving gifts, no, I'm not saying Minute Maid. When I say
Or suit.
suit, me I can buy him a suit. It's a gift. Ukuthi ubona lapha no Abraham lapha I'm saying gift it was a gift
There's
because
a
Jews
difference
have money.
between a gift and a sipho.
Oh yeah.
No, that's a good point.
So in akafundi sipho.
A sipho.
No, but I think the gift part you may remember saying kanye lapha umphen.
Yeah. So any future projects to expect from Vuyo Brown? Any dream collaborations going forward? Music career.
Definitely. Don't know about the dream collaborations, but there's a lot of people that I would love to work with from Zim and out of Zim. But definitely future projects. I mean, unless you know I die or something. But I'm a musician, so I'm gonna be putting out future projects. And if you give me money, I'll give you more projects. But yeah, dream collaboration. There's so many people I would love to work with. You know, there's no point saying that.
Featuring Chris Brown.
Ooh.
I mean, that would be so weird, but I would like it. I don't know what we'll be doing.
Brown
but-
Squad.
It's funny. I used to dance as well, so I was always a fan of Chris Brown. So.
Okay.
But anyway, yeah, it would be nice. There are a lot of people I would love to work with. But the thing about the question is when you're being asked it, you run out of songs. So now I can't think of even one person. But yeah, definitely future projects coming because we're already working. We're always working.
So like, do you have a team that you're working with or interesting as in Zela? Do you have a manager, PR, all the stuff?
I plug people sometimes. If the work is becoming a bit too much for me, depending on the time and the season, then I might assign someone. But I will definitely be overseeing because I'm such a control freak. So a lot of the things I do myself because right now I have to do it myself or because I can do it for myself. So yeah. But I'm definitely a do-it-yourself person.
But you think all that is necessary, like the PR, the managers, or whatever?
It actually is because a lot of people are for two reasons. A lot of people are not good at it. And then sometimes as you grow, you will need those people because you will now have so much on you. There's this thing that happens where your space is just becoming big. Even if people don't see it just yet, because you don't have to be a celebrity yet. But as long as like God is still elevating you, you get to a bigger space. So you yourself now, there's some things you now can't do because something happens, man. I don't even know what happens. But you now just need to be about the music. So those people now need to come in because now you doing all of that means also
You don't have your-
as well as you did
yes.
Galisa. You know, so I think for those two reasons, if you can't do it, get somebody else. If you are now at a place where you need to hire, you will pay them. You will be able to pay them.
Yeah.
Believe it.
So, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
This was a great interview, guys. Yeah. Nangikholisile.
Non-Kolisile, but
Abone
but before you
vele
close,
bebla-
there's a question I'd like to
beblashi-
ask.
beblashi interview yonke.
But before you close, there's not even a question, but it's, I don't know whether to say it's a scoop or it's gossip or it's what, but there's something that's happening. And I think I wanted to specifically talk about it now because I think you once was a guest to go Pink and Purple talk show, right? So, okay, so this is what's happening, right? About that. So I want to hear what you have to say. My phone is disappointing me. So you know, the guy who's behind like Pink and Purple.
in the same class.
Oh, perfect. So there's a girl. Her
Thinking
name is
Mike.
I'm going to name her because it's something that's going to be out there. So Fari Jules, I don't know, she's an actress or whatever, and so she went ahead and did something, foundation for girls, whatever, and took this, because this is how Pink and Purple is, right? And named it Pink and Purple Foundation. It's like, Malumi, like someone comes here, or maybe let's just say someone whom invited for something to do with Byo memes. And then someone, that guest, later on, said something, said foundation, Byo memes foundation, without consulting with you, without you knowing. And then when you have to hear via other people.
Damn. So now we started in
The Fari Jules chick, right? So I want to hear what everyone has to say about something like that, Uguti. How do you go about from there?
sokuthutsha umuntu wathi la senguvuyo Brown.
Yeah. Not really, yeah, maybe Vuyo Brown Foundation, yeah.
Vuyo Brown Africa.
But the thing
Yeah.
about her, she's been on the show, yes?
Yeah, she was a guest on the show. So she probably took it from there because I didn't know about Pink and Purple. So you've been a guest on their show, and now you go and you do something like this.
You've been on the show
Yeah.
because it's celebrating women. And
Exactly.
you appreciated it. The show airs on ZBC.
Yes.
It is out on YouTube. You know the person who invited you there. You know the whole production team. And you not only do you do that,
Yeah.
you put the same colors that the show uses. And the thing about that, if I was him, I definitely would have sued.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. as well.
Knowing him though,
it's a
because he's
penalty.
such a friendly person and he's just a peaceful person. He's probably just gonna talk first and things like that. If I were her, I would appreciate that he wants to talk because that girl does not lend you. You are in actually major trouble because that is disrespectful. And not only that, because now you can also apply for things. She's bound to get it because a reference of something that's not even that.
Exactly my
She's
point.
cheating. I would sue her. I won't even be
At the
talking.
end of the day, to sue the person, you should own rights. That's why it's very important as an artist.
But it's
or-
registered.
No, but it's registered. Like, I think he owns everything.
So akula case vele bahamba a court bayo like
I hope he watches this
Yeah.
and actually is convinced.
because it's
ukuthi
simple. If
go to
I don't
ukuthi-
understand though. How do you even get to do that?
But again, into engichoyo mina in closing, there is nothing new under the sun, guys. Told someone else we are planning to the podcast something similar because that is when kwabanye abantu yabo besenze maybe into efanana le yethu then we decide ukuthi sikwenze. But the most important thing is they can only be one Vuyo Brown.
True.
In as much as
hear that.
kuzabuya omunye umuntu maybe senguvuyo Brown Africa.
I hear that, but now we are exposed to. Do you understand? that?
Like
It's
right
like
now, let's
music
just say
videos.
me now, right now, because
Yeah.
we've been around you. I've been around the BYO memes.
Yeah, with Tibizo.
You understand?
With Tibizo,
And the next thing, saying the foundation,
case
yeah,
vele
BYO memes
No, I
foundation.
can a case very quote siyakusuka. And by the way, if you are thinking of stealing our name or podcast, you are registered everything. Siyahambisa
Can't
code vela
squeeze it.
silamali futhi sahle sivuke vele ngawo. So into engifuna ukubuza before sihamba, which artist would you recommend to sim interview next lapha ku podcast?
Oh, do we do that as well?
Yeah, I was starting now.
starting.
Oh,
I've
it's
never done
no,
it before.
don't start it with me.
Why
I
not?
recommend, huh?
Because when you're stars,
So
because
if you're
Vuyo
not
Brown.
recommending anyone or not interviewing anyone, thank you very much for joining this podcast. This has been a nice episode.
I think because you do the whole story and you like talk
Yeah.
about them and the
Yeah,
whole. Do they have to be? Did you say from Malawi?
No, even Zimbabwe, as long
Yeah.
as Kwanisi
Ukuthi
gets
yeah.
contact labo, we arrange the interview. It can be done virtually as well.
Yeah, it's okay virtually
Which
as
other
well.
artist would you recommend? This is you plugging other people now on our podcast that has 2 views.
Oh, so it has to be an up and coming artist.
Even established.
I would love to hear a story. Hey, but no, can I not? Can I respect? Can I tell you after the?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
if I say it here, and I might get into trouble because we were like,
Yeah, okay,
People
okay.
complain.
No, it's okay.
Yeah. So cool to recommend it. Okay. We're not having another celebrity interview. Thank you very much for joining, guys. Siyalithanda kakhulu. Bye-bye.
Like, comment, subscribe, share, whatever.
Yeah, asiyabonga guys. Asiyabonga.